the same as the professionals. So you want to kind of have that same kind of model, as so that way the guys that are in college, at the end of the day, the end goal is to get to the NFL or to get to professional sports. So you want to kind of match that and mimic that, so that way it becomes almost like the same. Now it's like you're progressing to exactly what it is.
From where you're standing, do you feel like the NCAA needs collective bargaining agreement movement? Are you on that side of it, or?
I mean, listen, that's above my pay grade, you know what I mean, so to speak. So, at the end of the day, we follow the rules and we do everything that we're going to be asked to do. And, whatever the judgment comes down, we'll make sure that we, optimize everything that we can do to the best of our ability. But that's for other people to think about. I got a job to do every day.
Your promotion to this role, what was your conversation kind of like with Coach Fran this offseason with that?
I mean, Nate McNeil did an amazing job here. I learned a lot from him. I'm super grateful for, everything that he kind of helped me with along the way. And, Fran just asked me to, step up for the program and step up for him. And, listen, I came from, sunny Florida all the way up here to beautiful Syracuse, for Fran Brown, for the people. So, whatever he asked me to do, I'm going to make sure I get it done and work my butt off to the best of my ability, to help him, everyone else here in this program, in this community win.
The first transfer portal, Fran was honest and said, I don't think we're going to be particularly active during that period. What do you expect for the spring?
I mean, listen, it kind of comes in the ebbs and flows, you know what I mean? So, there's always that kind of that first wave, and there's that second wave, and if anybody's been on Twitter, I'm sure today's been a big day of people announcing and things of that nature. So, we'll do whatever we got to do in order to help this team continue to grow and get better, and kind of mix and match and put some pieces together. But at the end of the day, the guys that are here right now had a great spring. They did an amazing job. His coaches did a great job. The new coaches, I think, did a really good job of, bringing that new life and energy to them. And, this is a developmental program, so we take those high school kids and we develop the heck out of them, make them into good football players.
Tommy, how much of your, Chris, how much of your job is just monitoring the portal, who could be in the portal, and being ready to make a decision about who you go after or not when they become available?
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it's about, this is a people business. This is a people profession and a relationship business. So, it's just about knowing people and being connected to people and having relationships. So that way, when it does become official and things of that nature, you know what's going on. You're in the know, so to speak.
Are there positions that you sort of already know that you guys have to go after in the portal?
That's a loaded question. So I appreciate
none that you're going to share?
But that's a loaded question.
You guys have had an influx of Florida commits since you've gotten here. Just what have you kind of done in that state, and what's your overall goal just been with that process?
I mean, listen, we have players from a ridiculous amount of states, from California, Texas, Georgia, Virginia, Florida. I mean, wherever the good players are, wherever the interest is, that's where it's going to be. Everyone on our staff has ties to all different kinds of states. Fran's been recruiting Florida, way before I, lived down there or anything like that. So we just try to use our connections and things of that nature. There's a lot of good players down there. There's good players in New Jersey, New York, DMV, New England, Pennsylvania, you name it. Wherever they're good players and they have interest in Syracuse, we want to make sure we find them.
NIL is important, that, Tommy, but facilities, how much do they still matter, especially with this new building you get?
I mean, listen, this is beautiful. It was a $65 million. I think they probably went over budget. That's what everybody does. And now we've got nice new meeting rooms, nice new offices, and I just think it's interesting. The recruiting, the guys that we had last year come in, we didn't have any of that. It's just the vision of how good it could be. I think you did a great video on kind of the whole dynamics of it. It was pretty cool. So just to be able to show that and stuff like that, I think is great for the community. I think it's great for our kids. I think it's great for our program, and it just shows you how much support we have. And this everybody, athletic director, all that has of Fran Brown and his staff and what we're doing here. End of the day, it's still a people business. Though I always say that, but it's the people here that are the most important thing.
Good.
Last thing, I just want to say my staff, scouting and recruiting department does an outstanding job, from Aaron Minichi, Manuel Mark, Stax Williams, Alex Kelly, Jared Hackmeyer, Michael Ramirez, Tony G. All these guys do a great job. I'm very thankful for everyone here, and I'm thankful for y'all as well.
I actually do have one last question for you. You were here since last year, obviously, and many of the guys that you just mentioned on the recruiting staff have been here for the full year plus now as well. Have you seen a difference, since you guys had the success that you had last year in terms of recruiting? Have you seen that build in a year's time?
I mean, I think whenever you win, it's attractive, you know what I mean? And now maybe instead of, unless they do a really good job, they reach out to everybody, but now we're probably getting, just as many people calling us as we are calling them. So when you win, obviously things, get bigger and blow up and stuff like that. So I would say that's the only thing. And, you want to continue to raise the profile and, all that kind of jazz when it comes to, the community and the program and the players and things of that nature.
One last one for me. You guys' first opponent is pretty much running the national news right now with their whole quarterback thing. Does Syracuse have a stance at this moment that you care to announce on, like, how you feel about negotiating in season and in spring with players?
I think there's going to be 11 players on offense. I think there's going to be 11 players on defense. And they're going to line up and play football. I think that's my stance.
Gotcha.
Good try, though.
Thank you.